There's not a timeline. You just have to keep your mind actively involved and keep moving, and keep doing things. And then it just becomes less of a burden, and you can find more joy out there and glimmers.
Welcome to Season 4 of the Widow podcast. I'm Karen Sutton, the Widow Coach, and I'll be supporting you through the loss of your life partner so you can find a more positive way through your grief. Whether this is your first episode or you've been with me for a while, I want you to know you are capable of creating something meaningful after loss. And you don't have to do it alone. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Widow podcast. Today I have invited on the lovely Joan. Joan has been in my communities now, I think is it about 3 years?
Yeah, it will be coming up for 3 years, it will.
And I think I met you first at my Christmas gathering, is that right, here in Cheltenham?
It was.
Yeah. And I've invited Joan along for various reasons. Firstly, Joan is incredibly inspiring. And from the moment I met Joan, I really liked Joan and her energy and her outlook and how she approaches life. I think she is incredibly inspiring. But also to represent, I suppose, widows in their 60s and 70s maybe navigating widowhood, because I always ask for feedback and I always ask people what they are wanting from the podcast, and I know a lot of people in their 60s and 70s listen to the podcast and feel that they don't necessarily have a voice here because a lot of my guests feel that little bit younger. So I thought, right, okay, that's a fair point. Let's change it. So Joan is being very, very brave today, massively stepping out of her comfort zone and doing something that feels very alien and uncertain. So we're going to be very gentle with you, Joan. But thank you for agreeing to come on and do this. It really is. I know it's not easy, but I think it just shows actually what you're willing to do in your journey to not just help yourself, but help others as well. So thank you for being here, lovely.
Okay.
So let's start at the beginning, shall we, Joan? Mike, your late husband. Tell us just a little bit about what happened to Mike and your sort of journey into widowhood.
Well, it was a sudden death, and we were just living a normal weekend, sitting on the sofa 1 minute, watching the racing driving on the TV, as he liked to do. And we got up when it finished to go down to the shops, get a few bits, because it was coming up to Saturday evening to have a nice meal and a bottle of wine. And he just collapsed in the street. And he was taken to the hospital. They did say there was a bit of erratic heart movement, but they wanted him to stay overnight to be observed. And with that, he had started to rally round a bit and was feeling a bit better. So he said to me, well, you go home and come back and collect me in the morning. And I said, oh, are you sure? And we agreed on that. And then the next thing I knew was at 2:00 in the morning, getting a phone call from the hospital to say, can you come to the hospital, take somebody with you, he's not going to survive. And it's just, you're just devastated and think, what? It can't be true. So, and then as you can imagine, all the fallout of that and stuff, and you just don't know what's happening suddenly. Within hours, your whole life has changed.
Were you able to get to him, to be with him whilst he died?
No, he was in a coma. They said to me that you will think that he's breathing, but they said he's not really. It's a machine making him breathe. They just were waiting to switch something off. The end as well was not a pleasant experience. And it was dark. It was the middle of the night. I couldn't believe the difference in a hospital from the daytime with people buzzing about, and it was pitch black and hardly able to find your way to where you had to go. The whole thing was just a horrendous experience.
So hard. And how old were you then, Joan? When was this?
I was 66. We were just in the process. Mike was 7 years older than me. He had been retired for 7 years. It was a case of all our plans that we had made to do things. We were both from previous relationships, married previously. I was divorced. He had been divorced, but he had two children from his marriage. I had no children. I haven't had children. And we were together for 23 years. So, and he had a young grandchild that was 4 years old at the time. And we were just looking forward to taking more time in the winter because we like going on holidays abroad when it's cold and depressing in the winter. And we thought, oh, that's good now. I'll be retired. We can stay a bit longer than just, about 10 days due to my leave constraints. So everything just went out the window that you had planned.
So this was in November in 2021. And you were then, as all of us, thrown into the world of widowhood. What were your initial thoughts and feelings, as a 66-year-old woman whose husband had died, of how you navigate this and what life has in store for you?
Well, at first it was just scary. And I think to make it worse, it was at that time when all the awfulness all started happening out in the outside world. Suddenly we were getting all this threats about, the energy crisis. Then there was the invasion of Ukraine, and it was all just gloomy things that all made you feel worse as well. And you had nobody to talk to, share concerns or what it meant, that everything that's happening outside. Plus, you felt you didn't belong in the outside big world. You were kind of trapped in a bubble. And it's almost like you were viewing things from looking on, not being part of it, and trying to just navigate all your feelings and how to gain some kind of control and rationalize everything and think, well, I've got to be sensible here and try to think how am I going to cope with, going forward.
It's a very lonely, vulnerable place, isn't it? And do you think, for you, is that something that felt worse because you were a bit older?
I think because I had left another part of my life as well as the joint life, so there was two closures happened kind of back to back. So that was the bit that was more difficult to navigate. Dealing with, like, as we've talked in our talks about the secondary losses, suddenly it hit me just one day what all that meant, that there's other things that I've lost as well.
That's it. It's never just about the person, and that's enough on its own, isn't it? But all the things that come with it.
Yes.
And what kind of support did you have around you? I know you've said that Mike had children from his previous marriage. Obviously, they're adults. You didn't have your own biological children. What kind of support did you have around you?
Well, that was my closest friends didn't live in the same place, but they were very supportive. Two friends that I've worked with in years past when we worked abroad, and I think we formed a stronger bond because we were working in an overseas environment. So, they're friends for life.
Are these people that you worked with before you met Mike?
Yes. So one friend invited me to go and stay with her for a week, and then my other friend came to stay with me. I've kept the contact there. It was just they did what they could with the distance factor being factored in. And then I realised that everybody else, my family doesn't live here, and Mike's daughters obviously don't live locally either. They have their own families and jobs to go back to. So it was a case of thinking, well, I've got to start rebuilding, doing something with my time. and trying to find the energy as well, just to think what you want to do. So I had to kind of just draw deep, really, into your resources and think, well, as we all know, the first 6 months you're just going about in a daze, and it's hard just to get moving and get to do things that you have to tie up and still keep getting up, cooking, cleaning up a bit, and thinking appointments, etc. But then I thought, well, it's coming into spring and I've got to get out and about. And I thought, I need to start making new friends and joining some kind of new social life.
And I think that's amazing, Joan, you know, that you recognize that you had little support around you. A lot of your friends lived away, your family lived away. And I know, you have a brother, don't you? And nieces.
Yeah.
And your mum is still up in Scotland, amazingly. How old's your mum now?
She's 91.
Wow, that's incredible, isn't it? That is incredible. And she come down and stay with you for a week?
Well, she always used to come at Christmas anyway, and she had her flight and everything was booked, so she was just going to be coming. So it was a case of having to just do Christmas, which I really didn't feel like doing. But the good thing was my family came and visited as well, and helped and shared it. And then she went back to Scotland. And then I had it was more difficult as well, because I thought I've still got to visit and support where I can with her. But I just didn't feel at the time that I had energy for anybody else for a bit. But my family, very kindly, my sister-in-law, just one day in March, rang me up and said, we've booked a holiday, we're going to Sicily, we've booked a villa, and you're going to come with us. All you've got to think about is getting your travel insurance organised. So that was all planned for the September. So that was the first glimmer, Karen.
Yeah, your first little glimmer.
Yeah.
And like you say, you've got good people around you, but people have their own lives, they have work, they have families, commitments, and as much as they can come and stay with you for a weekend or maybe even a week here and there, you are still left with this very empty life, aren't you? That you kind of go, I've got to fill this with something.
I think in some ways I used to first of all think, I wish I was still working, because I would have had to go back to a place where there was people in life around me, and I could have disappeared in that environment, and that would have kept me going for about 6 hours a day. But the good thing, anyway, I thought, well, my friends were very supportive and rang me regularly. And with going on holiday with my brother and his family, it got through that travelling for the first time, especially abroad, airport thing, and not having to do it on your own and stuff like that. And then thinking, right, this is the readiness, because the next time I will be on my own. So it's just launching yourself into accepting that you have to do things just you.
And that's hard, isn't it? Do you know? Because like you say, you already feel like you're lacking in confidence. You're not quite sure where you fit in the world. Your person's no longer here. You're trying to find your feet in it all. And in this, you went off, didn't you? And you joined a couple of different groups. And which one came first?
The first one came the Nordic walking. I'd always seen them walking on the downs whilst, I was out and about. And I had said to Mike, I think I might quite like to do that when I retire. So that was always in the back of my mind. And so I did that. And I was just lucky that the group that I chose to join was a super group of ladies who were of a similar age, let's say between 50 right up to late 70s. And the good thing about that group was when we'd done our exercise walking around the downs for an hour, the group leader and the group, we all sat in the cafe and chatted. And it was superb because I thought, oh, at last I can talk to people who had life experiences themselves too because of the age groups. And they understood, what I was going through. Because some of them obviously would have had a similar experience. And also it was a fun group.
And did you feel guilty about having that fun, Joan?
At first, yes. Yeah.
How did you overcome that?
Well, I'm trying to think back really. I think I recognised that I have to let myself be allowed to, and that I thought I started to look from another angle and think, well, what would Mike be doing if it had been situation reversed?
Yes.
And I'd even had a chat with his daughter about that, and she said, yeah, you're right. She said, he would be picking himself up probably and thinking, right, what am I going to do?
Yeah, definitely.
And then I thought, I've got to find maybe some group to join. And that's where I started looking for grief retreat on the internet, because I thought I need to get maybe some of the feelings out my system and help with emotionally and going forward. And Karen, your name popped up.
Thank goodness.
And then it was just before one of your Christmas retreats, and I thought, gosh, she's only in Cheltenham. That's only up the road. Aww. I have to meet this lady.
Did you have any reservations about coming along to it? Because did you ever think, oh, I might be a bit old, I shouldn't go along, or did you just see it and you were like, I want to go, I'm going?
No, yes, because by then I joined the programme, Finding Open Widowhood, in the September, and I thought, I can't wait for the retreat. I just want to get there and meet all these people. And I did. I kind of said, well, a lot of the ladies, they're obviously in younger age brackets than me, because, it strikes everybody at any age. It's got no respect what anybody's age is, being a widow. And then on the other hand as well, I thought, oh my goodness, it'll be lovely to meet younger people again, because I missed that from work. So I was on that motorway at 7:00 in that morning, Saturday, getting up that road.
There's a song in there somewhere, I think, Joan, isn't there? I love that. And I think, do you know, and this is what I notice in life, and this isn't a criticism or a judgment on anyone, but as people get older, there tends to be, and I'm sure there's lots of different ones, but I think the two that kind of stand out in terms of mindset, sometimes people feel like, well, I'm a bit old, I don't quite fit, it's not really for me, I don't know, I'm probably a bit beyond it, the best years are behind me, is there any point? And their age almost becomes a block or a barrier to them allowing themselves to explore support that's out there and meet people. I have never once heard you say anything along those lines. I think I've even ever heard you refer to your age. You've never even said, oh, I feel a bit old, or everyone here is much younger. And not that people are much younger. I'd say, I think people in my communities, my groups, even at my events, it does range from mid to late 30s. And I've had people, up into their early 70s, but ballpark, I'd say people are probably in their 50s, mid 50s, I'd say is probably, the average kind of age. But there's always something either side of that. I've never sort of said that you can't come because you're too young or too old or anything along those lines. But you've never had that approach. It doesn't seem like, Joan. You've never thought that you weren't worth it or you couldn't do something because of your age. You've just done it because you wanted to.
I've always been adventurous and like doing different things, and I think I've just keep on doing it. I mean, sometimes it's not a good thing. Sometimes I'll jump into something and then think, oh goodness, what am I going to do now? It can have that side of things to being adventurous. But yes, so I feel as well that I still want to learn things. And there might be classes out there that I may consider to join.
Yeah. And I think this is what's always amazed me. You know, from the minute I saw you, you obviously came to the Christmas gathering. You've been in Finding Hope, and you've never sort of held yourself back. And I know when I spoke to you before, you talked about joining the Nordic walking group and how good that was, and you also joined another group, the Silver Swans. But the first one you went to didn't go particularly well, did it?
So I went for the weekend to Cornwall with the Nordic walking group, and also there was other people that I hadn't met that would be on the group, but I wasn't the most fittest of them, and it was quite challenging. But I only did one day of walking. But the good thing as well was the socialising in the evening in the hotel and having dinner and a drink and, fun with people. Because everybody did mix, and it just gets your head in a better place. You just get your mind off everything else that's, not so good.
And did you have an opportunity to talk about your circumstances, your situation in with those people in on the group?
Well, this year, only very briefly, I just did say, that it was only 3.5 years, since Mike had died. And I was actively looking to start doing things and joining hobbies. And that was it. I did not want to go into any detail because I feel that if I join things now, I want to join them for me. And I don't feel I have to give reasons of past history about myself.
Okay, so you're not necessarily looking for somewhere to sort of vent your grief and your feelings. You're looking for somewhere that helps you to rebuild and reconnect with life and people around you.
Yeah, that's where I've come to now. I realise that now that, if the subject comes up, oh, do you live on your own or whatever, then I will just say yes. And, I had a partner, but,
And I guess you have, from doing Finding Hope and being in Remember and coming to some of the events, you've met some lovely friends as well, haven't you, in our community that I guess you have the balance of the, talking about Mike and your grief and your widowhood and having that shared experience with people in that way. So you do have it. So you just don't need it there.
yes, yes. I think going forward, it's good now to meet people from other circumstances. And yes, it's not talking about how you were a couple, but you are you now going forward.
Yeah. And that's really hard, isn't it? That going from a we to a me is a huge transition, and it is incredibly difficult. Did you and Mike talk about the after? If one of you died, what would the after look like for either of you?
Do you know, we didn't? And I often think, maybe people should, but I don't know that you should really, because you're living. It's like somebody said, we are here now. This is what's important, isn't it? So maybe that's a selfish thing to think. I wish we'd talked about it, because then you might have some comfort for going forward from the aspect of the other person. But you don't want to be dwelling on things like that when you're both alive and doing nice things, do you?
Yeah, I know. It's really hard to know what's best, isn't it? How do you balance these things out? And I think you kind of have to come to, you did what you did, and that was what was right for you, and now you're finding your feet in this world in the best way that you can, and looking back and wishing things were different kind of takes up energy that doesn't necessarily serve us that well, does it?
Yes. And I definitely think, Karen, that joining the programme was the best thing, because it's like I feel safe in that community, in your community, our community. We've got somewhere we can go. We can write a message on the Facebook if we really feel down, and people will respond and will share feelings and help each other support. And going to the event is a big thing. The face to face, I think there's other support groups out there and online things, but I think it still can't beat meeting people face to face.
Something very special about that, isn't there? So being able to sit down with somebody and talk to them face to face, look them in the eye, have a hug. Those things are just so lovely. And as much as it can be a bit daunting going somewhere where you don't know anyone, it's not long before you do know someone and you feel just that sense of belonging and understanding and like you say, just feeling safe somewhere. I think it's just magic, isn't it? It really is so magical.
And I think just walking through the door at an event, Karen, everybody makes you feel completely welcome. You do the event, we have good practical advice in the day, and then you have a nice social in the evening, and then you come away, and then you go home, and then you can take forward thinking, right, okay, I might have to go and do something over the winter months. I'll join a class, I'll do this. But it set you up.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It makes such a difference, doesn't it? So you've talked about how you've coped in terms of joining groups and trying to meet new people and building a life for yourself and not holding yourself back because of your age at all. You've gone out there. How have you coped at home? You know that this is something I think people find really difficult, isn't it? You go out, you do things, and you feel a little bit lighter and brighter in those moments sometimes, and you connect with people, but you still got to come back to an empty house, and that's quite hard. How have you managed that side of things?
Well, I suppose in a way, my house needed things doing to it because things had been neglected for a bit. So I've had to get on with that as well. So that was quite a project to get people quotes, do jobs in different rooms and things. And that took a lot of energy. But I also have got my craft hobbies that I've always had as well, sewing and my mixed media projects and embroidery and things that I do. So, I but for a while I didn't like being in my own house. It just felt strange. And I'm only now beginning to uh, kind of be happy with being here on my own for longer because I know that I've got things planned in to do ahead. Like I try to do something different every month or go somewhere, go on a little trip or meet friends and do things. And then it's suddenly now not becoming as bad coming home. And I am getting more involved in doing my hobbies and interests again. And this year the weather's been nice. I bought myself a new table and chairs and umbrella so that I thought, well, I'll use the garden as an extension and been sitting out there doing things.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's finding that balance between giving yourself the time and space to feel and grieve and do what you need to do, but also finding little projects that keep you busy, but also things that bring some mindfulness in, and things like sewing and arts and crafts are so good for us, aren't they? I think they really help us in grief with our mental well-being. And I know that's taken you on a bit of a trip, hasn't it? Because you've been away on your own as well, haven't you? You booked your first solo holiday.
Well, that because the first solo holiday, I thought, well, I'll do what I know, and I looked up as well for craft holidays and found creative experiences, and that was in the French Alps last July on a sewing retreat, and it was marvellous. And once I got there, we were collected at the airport, and everybody was so friendly, and there was ladies that had come from America. So it's the same kind of thing as your program. When we join the Zoom classes, it's so international. And it's amazing that everybody connects and wants to, that's got like-minded things that they like doing. Doesn't matter where you come from. Once you're in one place all together, you just share all your knowledge, experience, and have fun.
Yeah, that's it. And it is so lovely, isn't it? It really is. Yeah. Or that it's like that synergy, isn't it, between everyone in the group, and you bring it all together. And as much as on person, that sort of in person, face to face meeting is incredibly special. It's amazing, I think, the bonds that can be made online, and how you can connect to people by just my meeting on Zoom, and being in these communities. Great friendships are made.
And it was amazing last year as well, because that's after I met Gay at the Christmas retreat, the previous Christmas retreat. Then last year, the ladies came over to Toff Manor from America. There was Colleen, Joni, and Vicky, who were coming down and stopping off at Bristol. And I said, oh my goodness, if they've travelled all this way to UK, I've got to get and meet them. So we had dinner together, Gay and the three of them, and it was lovely.
Oh, that it is lovely, isn't it? That you get to meet these ladies that came all the way from America, and they came over, they came to my retreat, didn't they? And then they went on a tour, meeting everyone in the community, and staying at people's houses, and meeting up for lunches, and it was absolutely incredible. So, where would you say you are in your grief now? I know you're coming up to 4 years, aren't you, in November? What does your grief feel like now? How are you doing with it?
I think I would say that it's lighter, if that makes sense to people. It's not as heavy a burden.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm back actively living amongst other people now.
Yes. Yes.
And I know that if I don't feel too great, then I'll just allow myself to not feel great and have a duvet day or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Give yourself permission to do what you need to do. Do you feel like you've learned a lot about yourself in your grief?
It's a strange thing, but I feel I've almost relearning
Yes.
somebody that's a different person as
Yeah.
well, self,
Yeah.
because I feel like you lose a bit of yourself. So it's rediscovering, and because I'm in a different situation than I was for years, it's, what is that person?
Yeah.
Trying to find and trying to rationalize why you think like you do, or and where I want to go with things.
And do you feel like finding hope in widowhood helps you with that, Joan?
Oh, definitely. I think the advice and the tools and techniques in the program, it's continual work.
Yeah.
I honestly feel I'm at a place now where it's not something that's going to stop. It's an ongoing process.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I recently had a conversation with Mary Frances O'Connor, who wrote the Grieving Brain and the Grieving Body, and she said, grieving is learning. You're learning, about life and who you are and what you want and when you're heading and how you navigate all of these feelings and emotions, and learning to live again, in a different way. And we are always learning how to sort of live alongside our loss. It's a constant. And I think at the beginning there's very much, for me anyway, Joan, I don't know whether for you, but a sense of how can I move beyond this? Like, when will I be better? When will it kind of go away? And I think as you move through it, and as time passes and you do the work and you learn new things, you start to understand, actually, this is something I'm learning to live with and not run away from, almost. And we allow ourselves to do what we need to do in that process of grieving. And like you say, the days that are heavy and hard, you've learned to give yourself permission to slow down, to be still, to take a duvet day and do whatever is needed, but also you are prepared to take the action and make choices and push yourself on the days that you feel more able to.
Yeah. There's still things in my life that I miss, the spontaneity, as in, when you're with somebody, if you've had a bit of a bad day, you say, oh, let's go out and eat and have a bottle of wine and a chat and a laugh, or let's go to the movies, or let's go to the theatre,
Yes.
just out
Yeah.
of the blue.
Yeah.
That I do miss spontaneity,
Mm,
and even making new circle of friends and things. They've got lives going on, and it's not easy just to have spontaneity.
yeah. Yeah.
And I think I've got to plan more, because you've got to be more organised, because you're doing everything in the house as well as just looking after yourself. You're sorting the car out, you're sorting jobs around the house, you're still doing the shopping, whatever. So if you are going to do something different, you've got to take time and plan, and it's energy. I'm learning to realise that you run out of steam.
Yeah.
So it's balancing. It's a balancing act. A
Mm,
lot more structured planning needs to be put in place, which I'm not an easy person that likes that,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
I like jumping into things.
Yeah. Like to be spontaneous.
so, so yes, it is. It's almost like retraining yourself.
Yeah. And that's hard. It takes a long time, doesn't it? I think that's the thing. And how do you feel about your future now? I know you turned 70, didn't you, at the beginning of this year?
Yeah.
What do you think about what comes up for you when you look ahead?
Well, I don't think of numbers anymore. It's not numbers. I look and think, right, I want to do something. I never question, can I or not do it? I tend to just think, if I feel that I want to do something, I'm going to give it a go.
Yes. Yeah.
But long term, I try not to look. If I look too long term ahead, it is scary,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes. Yeah.
So I remember that one of the ladies, Mary, had been on a retreat, and she passed a good quote on to us, because she was had concerns.
Yes.
And they said to her, what you've got to think of is be here right now.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's a really good quote. And I've kept
Yes.
that quote in my head from Mary,
Yes. Yeah.
because when my mind starts wandering off and over catastrophizing, I think, no, all that matters at the moment is thinking, what's now?
Yeah.
What
What's
needs
here?
to be done now, and what can I do now?
I love that. I love, and we had a session in Remember about dating at the weekend, and we were talking about age in there. Obviously, it comes up. Some people
Yeah,
think that they're too old for it, or what have you. And Debbie shared in the group that when somebody says sort of how old are you, rather than saying, well, I'm 66 years old or what have you, it's it's so much better when you say I'm at level 66 or I'm at level 72, because she said it sounds more badass and more exciting and like you've achieved something. And I was like, I love that. To say I'm at level
yeah,
70, that's like, wow, level 70, that's amazing.
yeah,
So we've been laughing and joking about that in the community this week, about who's at what level and what have they done to get there, because it just completely reframes the whole age thing. And like you say, looking ahead and thinking about the future, it does often bring a lot of anxiety and fear, and uncertainty, right?
yeah,
Because we don't know, and that's such a powerful tool, tip, strategy in those moments, to just think, do you know what? All I've got is this. I'm here. I'm alive. What do I want to do with this? And really just bringing yourself back to the present and thinking about what you can do in these moments. I love that. And see, this is what's so amazing, isn't it, about community? Just everyone shares these little snippets of everything that they're doing,
Yes.
and we
Yeah.
all take something from it.
And you just don't realise how something simple can really resonate with another person, and it can mean so much to them
Yeah.
and help
And
them. It's their anchor, you know.
yes. Yeah. And it doesn't matter, like you say, it doesn't matter about how old you are, how far into your journey you are, where you live. You draw something from everyone. Everybody's got a little bit of wisdom that helps. Did you know? And this is
Yeah.
the magic of it all. So, if somebody's listening to you now and resonating with your story, losing their partner maybe at a similar age or not, because I know you inspire so many of us in so many different ways in the group, but what would you what would you say? What would be your kind of words of comfort, of wisdom, of support for somebody?
I would say to trust their instincts and be patient,
Mm,
because it's not going to change overnight.
no.
You have to work through things,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Definitely.
there's not a timeline, and you just have to keep your mind actively involved and keep moving, keep moving,
Yeah.
and keep doing things, and then it just becomes less of a burden, and you can find more joy out there and glimmers.
Yes. Yeah. And do you feel that now, Joan? Do you feel like you have joy in your life?
I think I do, and there's days when I don't appreciate, maybe because that cloud again comes hanging over us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I think, well, it's like if I'm somewhere, and now I'm finding that people are asking me for advice sometimes
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
and that you think, oh gosh, it's like I'm finding my feet again,
Yes. Yeah.
and I can help somebody instead of just feeling like a hopeless wreck myself.
And that's really hard, isn't it? I think, when we are in the early sort of stages of our loss, the first couple of years, really, you do feel so hopeless and you feel like you're of zero use to anyone because you've got no capacity for anything, have you? You're doing all that you can do to just survive, where you are and what you're feeling, and being there for anyone else just doesn't feel possible for you. And you do get to a point where you're able to give back a little bit, and that I think brings a real sense of purpose, of meaning, of belonging, like we have something to offer the world again, when for so long we just didn't feel like we
Yeah.
had anything to offer.
And I now feel, going positively forward, that this is another chapter for me,
Yeah.
that I'm going to do something, and things, I've got a freedom
Yeah.
in a way as well.
Yes.
It's my choices. I'm not constrained by having a job from 9 to 5, or certain days, or only, asking to have time off. I thought, I can move forward now with my time is mine, and I want to do things still.
Do you know what I think? And this is what we talk about in Finding Hope, don't we? Sort of those reframes, how we can reframe things and how we can support ourselves in our journey and in how we're feeling. And there's a lot of focus on what we can't do, what's not available to us, and some of the sessions that we have in there are very focused on, right, let's take some of these thoughts that are keeping us in a space we don't want to stay in, and how can we turn them around so we can see that there is still good, that there is still opportunity, there's possibility. And exactly that, it's we have to acknowledge what's no longer available to us and what we can't do. That's part of the grieving process. And how can we create space for looking at what can we do? What opportunity is there in this? What is available to me? What good can I see? And it's hard to do, I think, initially, and it can feel sort of counterintuitive because you kind of go, well, I don't want these opportunities. I don't. But
Yeah.
when you start to get to a place of acceptance, not that everything's okay, but that you have an understanding that this is your reality, this is where you're at, and you're able to kind of go, okay, well, this is where I am. What can I do? What's available to me? And what are my opportunities in this? And what you've just said there is just such a powerful reflection of that, Joan, that you can say, look, I've got this. I'm here, I'm fit, I'm healthy, I'm alive, I don't have anyone else to consider, I can do what I want when I want. It's all of those things, isn't it? As much as it's not what you choose, it's what you've got, and you're able to see the good in that. And that's empowering, isn't it?
It is. And I think the one thing as well that I really appreciate is building good, strong friends
Yeah. Yeah.
around you.
Yes.
It's important now.
Yeah. Yeah. You, especially when you haven't got a lot of family, or your family aren't around you. And I know for a lot of people that's their truth. They don't a lot of people don't have children for various reasons in life. They don't have a lot of family around them, whether people have died or they're estranged. People do find themselves in quite lonely circumstances, and that makes it difficult. And you are one of those people, did you know? And you haven't just sat there and gone, well, I haven't got anyone. You've kind of said, okay, I recognize I've got little support around me. What can I do? How can I get out there and build relationships and meet people and and make those connections? Because you can. There are people out there doing different things and will bring so much into your life. But like you say, you've got to take that action. And when I spoke to you before, you said it. Taking that action, it builds confidence in yourself, but taking the action opens things up for you in life again that might not necessarily be known to you at the time that you take the action, but they lead you down paths, don't they?
Yeah, and you have to try different paths because you might find as well there is negative people that is maybe not a good place to be.
Yeah.
If people have got too much negativity, then that's not the place for you to join.
No. No.
You've got to be amongst positive, good attitudes,
Yes.
helpful.
People like you. We need more Jones. Honestly, Joan, you've inspired me from the beginning. When you came into my world and joined Finding Hope, and then you came along to the Christmas gathering in Cheltenham, which happens every year. I think you've been to two now.
Been to two, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Coming to the one exactly, and it just
I'm
gets bigger and
looking
better.
forward next year. I really am looking forward to hopefully being able to go on Renew and Rising.
Yes, my Rise and Renew retreat.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
there's a lot of talk around that at the moment. We've not
yeah,
long done it, and everyone's been blown away, I think. And I love that. Again, you're
yeah.
looking ahead. You're like, what can I do? How can I learn more about myself? How can I enrich my life and meet people? And you don't once think, oh well, maybe Rise and Renew, maybe I shouldn't. Or, by then I'll be 71. And actually, this year I had a couple of ladies there that were in their 70s. I also had, ladies there in their 40s. And it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. And I think it doesn't matter how old you are. It's your mindset, it's your attitude, it's how you approach things. And this is what I see more and more in life. It's that matters most.
Yeah. And now that I've got time on my hands, I mean, it may be that one day I might make it to an American retreat.
Hey, watch this
Great.
space. Oh, Joan, you are incredible. You really are. And it's such a joy knowing you. It's wonderful having you in the community, and just watching you on your journey and the friendships that you make. And you are a beautiful soul, and you inspire us all. And thank you for stepping out of your comfort zone and coming onto the podcast and speaking to us all so honestly and openly. Joan, you are incredible. Thank you so much.
Oh, and thank you, Karen, because you're the anchor in our turbulent sea.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, Joan, bless your heart. Thank you, darling. Thank you so much. If you are a widow searching for hope, some light in the darkness, I have just the thing for you. From the 22nd to the 26th of September 2025, I will be running Awakening Hope. Awakening Hope is a free, transformative, 5-day immersive experience created specifically for widows and surviving partners. You will gain so much from our time together. You will leave with a renewed sense of hope. You will feel uplifted, nurtured, inspired, and connected. We will meet every day online via Zoom, and we will talk about things like facing our feelings, cultivating self-compassion, rediscovering who we are after the loss of our person. And I'll be sharing my unique resilience framework with you as well. This is an incredible event. People have gained so much from it when I've run it before. You will take lots away with you. There is so much wisdom shared by everyone in this community. It is completely free. You can come and join us. You will take so much from it. If you can't make it live, please don't worry. It will all be recorded and you can catch up on the replays. If you're finding it hard, if you feel lost, alone, like you've lost your place in the world, come and join us. Honestly, together we really are so much stronger. And if you want more after we finish, it will give you a taste as to what it's like in my 8-month program, Finding Hope in Widowhood. And you can sign up to join us there as well if you want to. But if not, Awakening Hope will give you gold to take away with you. So please come and join us the 22nd to the 26th of September 2025. You can sign up on my website, karensutton.co.uk, or the link will be here in the show notes. I so look forward to seeing you there and helping you to take steps towards a brighter future. Thank you so much for listening to the Widow Podcast with me, Karen Sutton. If you would like more support, head to karensutton.co.uk or explore the many other episodes for more conversations and support. You can do so much to help you take steps forward towards a brighter future, and I'd love to help you do that.